starting off, Dr. Barrett, what are you expecting from tonight's Senate debate?
Well, I suspect it will be a good debate. I think Colin Allred wants to talk about abortion, and I think Senator Cruz wants to talk about anything but abortion. So I think we'll see how that goes as they try to dogfight around what topic they talk about during the debate.
Well, how much of a dogfight, I guess, is it? Because these are going to be moderator questions that they're prepared, you know?
Sure. Well, what is typical in these types of venues is the candidates will turn the question to the subject they really want to discuss. And so I suspect you'll see a lot of that tonight where each side is trying to maneuver the discussion to more favorable ground.
If you feel Allred wants to discuss abortion, what do you feel Cruz will want to discuss?
I think if he had his choice, I think he'd like to talk about maybe immigration, maybe trans rights. I think these are the subjects that he's more comfortable with. But I think more than anything else, he probably just wants to avoid talking about abortion.
How has this campaign compared to other ones Cruz has run, in your view? Because this is Allred's first campaign for statewide office.
Yeah. So, Texas obviously is a reliably red state. And so ordinarily, the Republican candidate for statewide office has a pretty easy walk. But Cruz has had difficulty, right? The last time he ran against Beto O'Rourke, that was a fairly close race. Now, he won, of course, but it was closer than a lot of people suspected. And it's the same thing this time around with Colin Allred. It's much closer than people suspect, given that it's a very red state. This is one of these kind of Hail Mary passes the Democrats are doing, right? Control of the Senate is on the line, and the Republicans in general are in a fairly good position because of the map and the states that are in play and all of this. But if the Democrats could pull off an upset somewhere, such as Texas, it would really turn the tables on the control of the Senate.
You really feel it's a Hail Mary pass by the Democratic Party to try and win here?
I think so. Again, people get excited when the polls come out and it, looks kind of tight. But the truth of the matter is the Republicans have comfortably won statewide races for quite some time now. So I think the Democrats are putting in a lot of money, right? And again, hoping for the best. But I think, if everyone was to be real honest, I think the seats they're more likely to pick up are elsewhere.
What stood out to you the most in this Senate campaign to this point, and how may that factor into tonight's debate?
Well, so one of the things that's really changed is the dynamics on abortion, right? So this is the first post Roe overturn election for Senator Cruz. And so prior to the Dobbs decision, Cruz could afford to be, pretty conservative on abortion without fear of upsetting too many people, again, because it's a conservative, fairly Republican state. But since then, there's been a lot of pushback, and we've seen in many places, even in red states, there have been, some significant votes for abortion rights. And so, again, I think that's why Colin Allred's going to want to talk about abortion, as he knows this is an issue that Cruz is vulnerable on, and so looking to pick up soccer moms and these kind of voters that are maybe in general kind of moderate, maybe slightly conservative, but they do kind of lean towards abortion rights, and hopeful that again they can peel some of those off.
I do want to talk about split ticketing because, of course, the presidential race is also going on at the same
Yeah.
time as the Senate race. Do you feel these candidates at the same time are also trying to, I guess, convince voters to vote for the top of their ticket as well? And what has that impact their odds, if so?
Well, so if there's not split ticketing, then the Democrats are dead, right? Because they know that Trump's going to carry this state pretty handily. Um, so what you're hoping, right, for what the Democrats are hoping for is that they can convince some ticket splitting so that Allred can overperform Harris in the state and maybe squeak out a win. And again, we've seen this in some other states where, in general, there's not a lot of split split decisions, but sometimes there are. And again, sometimes people can over or underperform enough that it makes a difference.
There's 3 weeks until election day as we're speaking. What are these candidates, Allred and Cruz, really trying to do tonight in that final stretch of the campaign?
Well, again, both of them are trying to close the deal, right? And so for Allred, again, he's looking to try to land some blows on Cruz to score some points to maybe get a little bit of momentum, that's going to carry him across the line. And Cruz is looking for pretty much the same, right? He's looking to close the deal, try to go after Allred and said, look, a vote for Allred's a vote for Harris is a vote for extreme liberal policies. This is going to be kind of the line of argumentation from his side. And so the Republicans are hoping to kind of use this moment to paint Allred again is on the left and, associate him with Harris and Biden and so forth so they can defend the state.
You feel there are a lot of undecideds left at this point in Texas?
Probably not so many. We've been very polarized as a nation. People have had pretty strong views. Again, Cruz is a little unusual in that he tends to underperform as a Republican and a Republican state. And so that's why we're even talking about this to begin with, that, Allred is doing fairly well in the polls. And you see some different strategies that come to play. Beto O'Rourke ran as kind of a progressive, trying to fire up the base. Allred's moving more as, well, I'm a moderate, right? I'm hoping to kind of peel off some of the more centrist voters. And again, we'll see, judging from past elections, whether you run to the left or run to the center, you still end up getting beat by the Republicans at the end of the day. But we'll see, right? There can be surprises, and sometimes there are.
What impact could this debate have on the Senate election?
Well, it depends on how consequential it is, right? If it's ho-hum and nobody's particularly interested in it, uh, everybody kind of carries on like the day before. If one of the candidates are to stumble, right? If you're going to have one of these kind of moments that gets passed around on social media and everyone says, "Oh my goodness, look at this," uh, if if somehow Allred manages to pull out a win here, again, that could tip the balance of the Senate to the Democrats.
We've talked a lot about this debate. Is there anything else you think our audience should know with this debate coming up in just a few hours?
I can't think of anything. I mean, again, this is one of a couple of long shot races for the Democrats, right? Florida being another one. They know they're going to be down a seat because of West Virginia, right? A very conservative state where Joe Manchin, the independent slash former Democrat, is stepping down, right? So they know they're kind of on defense here, so to speak, right? To hold their majority, they really need to eke out some wins. And again, I think this is a more of a long shot for them. But hey, you take the shots where you can, and they're hoping one of them will pay off.